Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to count down the top 10 most sold books on the Shortbox app in the month of November. Typically, there is very little overlap between the best-selling comics for the year and what happens in a given month. But what's really interesting for this month is that 8 of the books that were the best selling for the month are also on the yearly list as well. So there's almost no need for me to count down the yearly bestsellers because 8 of them are presently on this list. The 2 outliers are the books that are in the 10th and the 6th spot on the list. So stay tuned to figure out what those books are. This video is sponsored by Shortboxed, the easiest and safest way to buy and sell comic books, both raw and graded. Download the app today using the link in the description. Number 10 is new to the list. It is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 210, the first appearance of Madam Web, who is set to appear on the big screen in February of 2024. 9.8s of this comic have sold for as much as $1,000 in recent months, but currently has a 30-day average value of $840. Number 9, Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 2, the first appearance of Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Woman. Cover price for this comic was $3.99 back in 2014, but currently the 9.8 commands a 30-day average value of $963. The number 8 book on the list is technically a 4-parter. It is X-Men issue number 1, and I say a 4-parter because this includes all of the connecting covers. There are currently just over 15,000 blue label copies of these comics graded by CGC. Generally speaking, the Magneto cover tends to command the highest value at a 9.8. The 30-day average is $84, but there have been a few recent sales at and above $100. Number 7, Wolverine, the limited series issue number 1. This comic continues to retain its value. In fact, this book is just $6 shy of its 1-year average of $676 for a 9.8. My feeling is that this book will continue to be in demand thanks to the Deadpool 3 movie featuring the return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Number 6 is new to the list. It is Uncanny X-Men issue number 164. This issue is where Carol Danvers becomes binary. This book is on the list purely because of the Marvel's movie being released. There are just over 2,000 copies of this book graded by CGC. The 9.8 has an FMV of $260, but is sold for as much as $300 in recent weeks. Number 5, Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars issue number 8. This comic has one of the highest census counts on the entire list, but continues to be in demand thanks to this being the origin of Spider-Man's black symbiote suit that later becomes Venom. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $549. Number 4, Something is Killing the Children issue number 1, and technically this includes all of the variants for issue number 1. What's really interesting here is that 70% of the cover A's graded by CGC are a 9.8. Even with that, the 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $629 with a recent high water mark of $700. Number 3 is another Wolverine book. This one, Wolverine issue number 1, the ongoing series. This comic is also the first appearance of Wolverine as Patch. Currently, this comic at a 9.8 has a declining 30-day average value of just $277. Number 2, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 300, the first full appearance of Venom. This book also has the highest census count on this month's list, with more than 28,000 blue label copies graded by CGC. Despite this, the 9.8 commands a 30-day average value of $3,193, which is just $547 off of the one-year average for this comic. And the #1 book, Spawn, issue #1. This book is the first appearance of Sam, Twitch, Wanda Blake, and of course, Al Simmons, aka Spawn. The 30-day average for this comic at a 9.8 is $149, but there are recent sales higher than this amount, including a high water mark of $200. So there you have it. That is the rundown of the top 10 most purchased comics on the Shortbox app for the month of November. I definitely want to encourage you to stay tuned for another video later this month, also featuring data from Shortbox. In that video, I'm actually going to run down the top 10 most in-demand comics based upon searches conducted on the Shortbox app. I always find it interesting to look at what people are purchasing and what people are actually searching for, and you'll be able to do that a little bit later this month. In that same video, I'm also going to give you a chance to win a $100 credit from my friends over at Shortbox. Down in the description, there is a link for you to download the app, and as I said, if you stay tuned for another video from them a little bit later this month, you might actually get that $100 credit. If you enjoyed this video, I definitely want to encourage you to give the video a thumbs up. If you want to reach out to me, you can do that on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care. By the way, if you're looking for something awesome to read, you might want to check out Marcus and Isolation. These are two titles from my publishing company, Swoldier Publishing. You can find all the information and make purchases on swoldierpublishing.com.
This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yeah. Should you practice art, or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master, the one that's more than a rapper, the one that's an educator, the one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts, he's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan, straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms of pure souls having them conversations, synergy and combination.